What up, Rafaelitos? Welcome back to my channel. We are back at the seawall here between Kingston and Kitty. So I'm going to tell you why I'm back in this neck of the woods in a minute, but first let me point out where we are. That is the traffic circle and the pump station at the end of Vlissingen Road, and I'm standing on the seawall. What I'm not going to avoid showing you today is all of the garbage, all of the trash that is building up at the seawall here because Guyanese do not respect the environment, regardless of all the talk about planting mangroves to protect the coast. This is the mangrove forest that's growing up here. People are still dumping trash, and trash is not being picked up. That's trash behind these stalls. The city, the nation is drowning in trash, and there's need for a comprehensive waste management policy and companies that provide waste management services. That is not currently being addressed in our national development goals. But why are we here? We're in this neck of the woods because I wanted to talk about what's happening with the Hilton Hotel and what's happening with all these mud flats. Now, I've talked about mud flats in the past, right? This is what a mud flat looks like here in Guyana. That's the mud flat at Kitty. And actually close to the seawall, there's a building. Somebody actually built a structure, a permanent building on the mud flat. So when the tide goes out, you see all of this solid land mass that exists right off the shore here. So the tide is out maybe about a mile or so in the distance, and you have at least half a mile of land that you can see that basically when the tide goes out, the land becomes, that is the mud flats, become visible. So it's just there at high tide, probably 3 or 4 feet below the surface, which means with about 6 or 7 feet of earth, you can reclaim all of this land. Which brings me back to talking about Hilton Hotel. So you can see between these buildings, there's some earth from about this point all the way out to the entrance of the national park on Carifesta Avenue is land that is going to be converted to commercial use for the Hilton Hotel. Now there is Kingston in the distance. That's the Pegasus Suites and Corporate Center, and beyond it you can barely see is the Marriott Hotel. But what is happening with the Hilton Hotel? That is what we want to talk about in this video. So from the Carifesta Avenue, which is what we've shown in the past, we've actually shown the fence around the Hilton Hotel site at Carifesta Avenue. You can see the green fence in the distance. That fence is around the site for construction of the Hilton Hotel, and from Carifesta Avenue all you can see is the fence, right? You can see that huge fence But if you are walking on the seawall here, morning, what you're able to see is over the fence, and you can see any progress in construction. The sea's kind of calm today because not very many ships appear to be coming in off the ocean. That's one.
Distance 4 miles. Duration 1 hour
ship
6 minutes 39 seconds.
Heading into Georgetown.
Pace
Harbor.
23 minutes 5 seconds per mile.
So not a whole lot of ships coming in off the ocean today. It's Tuesday actually, so it's Tuesday the 5th day? Tuesday the 5th of August. And for some reason, if you scan the horizon, not very many ships. Now if you go way in the distance, I don't know if you can see it here, there's maybe one ship on the horizon there. I can barely see it. My eyes are not that good, so I don't know if you can see it. But yes, guys, so what's happening with the Hilton Hotel? So this is the point at which the Hilton Hotel begins. Right, this is the fence around the property. Morning. That's the fence around the property. What you can see is just piles of earth, right? You can see piles of earth there. You can see huge piles of earth, which means they probably dug a pit to come up with all that earth, but you can't see. The pit is what you can't see. And of course, in the distance on this side, you can see some excavators on the property. Right, this is the site for the construction of the Hilton Hotel. There you can see a pond, sort of, a pit. So they basically excavated the soil to pile it up and produce those mountains of earth. So my guess is that they probably still haven't gotten permission to start construction, but they are working on preparing the earth for the foundation. That is my guess. So they have they demolished all the structures on the site. Remember, there was the Guyana National Service pavilion in that area. There was also a clubhouse for the Guyana National Service. I actually played tennis in the clubhouse and played soccer, football on the field, where now there is a pond. I don't know if you can see it here, but there is a pond, and then there's a mountain or a hillside of earth. So they basically excavated they've basically excavated the soil from that pit to create this mountain of earth. And they're doing more and more of it. You can see that's it. They're doing more and more of soil excavation with their excavators. In fact, there's one working right now, probably doing exactly what we said they're doing. So here in the distance you can see that's an excavator at work. All right, that's an excavator at work on the property of Hilton Hotel. So what I appear to be doing is piling up earth by digging pits on the property. And that is the extent of the activity at the site of construction of Hilton Hotel. Now, if you remember, Hilton Hotel is being constructed by the Assets Group from Qatar. So this is in Middle Eastern investment company, group of investors from Qatar, or based in Qatar, and they are the ones building the Hilton Hotel, which I've shown you. Now all these trees have grown up in the past 6 months or so, because there's a time when you could come out here and you could see the entire property. But beyond this fence and beyond all these trees is what is the property that is going to become the Hilton Hotel. And I will repeat my argument from earlier when I started showing you this property, the Hilton Hotel property, that if you go to the Middle East, right? If you go to United Arab Emirates, you go to Dubai, even Abu Dhabi, what you get to see is feats of